it is the number one skill that people don't talk about, that is extremely overlooked, and it has massively benefited her. And it's been adaptable, it's been changeable, it's been malleable to the room, it's been to be able to speak to some clients this way and some clients that way, and they're snap calls. So when I was asking you, I was thinking about it myself, and a lot of those things are unconscious. They're not things you realize you do. You might just kind of snap out of it after a while and be like, I didn't even notice myself changing there. I'm Brian.
And I'm Liam.
This is The Playbook.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. Okay, so yeah, Brian, episode... Do we need to stop saying that actually, because it's confusing?
Yeah, it is very confusing. Like, I feel like because it ran on from the Dubai Real Estate Playbook to this, it's gotten really confusing.
So what is this then? Technically, episode 2 ourselves, 3 ourselves, 1 with Dean, 1 ourselves, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, one of them.
We'll leave out a number. Okay.
New settings.
New settings today. Yeah, new studio.
New studio pending. We're finally deciding to take away the bookshelf and put our camera on a tripod, which is nice.
We're coming on leaps and bounds. We've got ourselves a tripod, a ring light, which we already had, I suppose. But the tripod's the big one today. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to bringing on some guests here and actually having somewhere to bring them rather than
our humble abode.
Yeah, our home in Arjan. But yeah, this is very up close and personal.
Yeah, honest to God. I could distance myself from you in the house. This is...
Feels like we're up and close. But yeah, look, we're just going to get into a bit of an episode with ourselves today and bring on some people next week. The topic of discussion this week is things that they don't tell you as a real estate agent in Dubai. Liam, why do you think it's important that we speak about this topic?
I suppose to get rid of... Clear of smoke, I suppose. Clear of smoke. What are the ugly truths? And I suppose not everything they don't tell you is an ugly truth, but trying to get them out on the table. You know what you're getting yourself into. The pros and cons, both sides of it, I suppose. But there is, I think, because there's so much of this industry that is the unknown, I think it's important to try and get these out. This is how it is. This is what they don't tell you, like.
Yeah, because nobody really takes a training course to be a real estate agent in Dubai. Like I alluded to, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize I was going to be a real estate agent. I didn't realize I was going to be leasing or selling properties straight away. I thought there would be some sort of kind of buffer of a few months where I kind of like attracted business to the company, but yeah, that wasn't the case.
Thrown into the deep end,
which has got its benefits. This industry is really strange. Like, I haven't really figured it out. With the low barrier to entry, anybody can be a real estate agent. So yeah, it feels like it's just, you can just wake up one day and be a real estate agent, and it's completely up to you what to do.
You really are left to your own devices though, and I think that's what scares a lot of people. People coming out of structure, coming out of a 9 to 5, where they have a manager telling them what to do. And then you come in here and they're like, oh, I'll be given the training, they'll show me what to do, I'll work my way up and I'll be able to do it like everyone else. It's really not like. You start on a Monday, introduce to everyone. Tuesday, this is the system we use. Wednesday's like, all right, crack on.
Yeah, I think it changes company per company, but like roughly it would be the same. Maybe like 1 week of training, then people get to decide their areas. That's something that isn't really highlighted, or enough importance isn't really put onto. But yeah, like in your opinion, what are some of those things? So what's one thing that people don't speak about being a real estate agent in Dubai?
Other than what we've actually spoken about already, about obviously how it isn't just a walk in a park. I suppose that your area definitely does make a difference. What area you choose, I think you should really have, which I didn't do. Well, lucky enough, I had you here working on the Palm, but your homework into your areas. I said we're lucky enough to have the office on the Palm. We work on the Palm, so any viewing is 15-minute walk maximum, or a short drive. But the likes of, if you've got an office, if we were here and you're doing viewings downtown, no matter how quick of a viewing it is, it's 2 hours your day gone. So I think there definitely should be more emphasis put on looking at the area you're going in, studying, I suppose, that before making the decision, whether it suits you, because obviously if you want to sell something or rent something, as we always say, you need to be behind the product yourself that you're trying to sell. So if you don't love an area or you don't like an area, you're not going to have that love for it to sell it or to rent it. So I think if working in an area you love, 100% definitely should be more emphasis put on it.
Why do you think there is a link between you liking something and you having an ability to sell it? Like,
because you don't have to talk shit. You know, you don't have to come up with bullshit. Oh, these are the great things about it. You just, I suppose, speak from your heart what you like about it, what the drawbacks are, and the pros and cons. But it's no more than you suggesting a restaurant to your friend. You know, you're not a salesman, but if you love the place, you'll big it up you'll big up all the things you love about it. You know, and that really should be enough. Like, I think out here, if you're just straight and honest and truthful, so it's a lot easier to be straight and honest about something that you love and you enjoy working at. Yeah, I think so. Like, do you find if you were to go somewhere else other than the Palm, you would, obviously you enjoy the Palm, you've been here since you came, you know it inside out, but you love the Palm. Like, you would, if you had the opportunity to live on the Palm, you would in a heartbeat, and you'd never leave it.
Well, this is the thing, like, this is the idea that they speak about selling with conviction. Like, if you have to make up stories in order for the person to buy it, you know, say some stuff that you wouldn't, you know, say to a friend, then people unconsciously can sense a lot of those things. Like, we are so much further and deeper than our unconscious bias than we realize. Like, it's a really good framework to think that sell anything as if you're selling to a friend or a family member. Like, if I watch this unbelievable movie that I absolutely love, I will pester like all of my friends, all of my close family, you have to watch this. This is the best movie because of this, and this. And that sale is so much greater, like the power in that, the emotion, the conviction, you will watch that. Like, it almost becomes a thing where you're watching it being like, even if it's bad, you're just like, oh, that was actually really good.
You're almost doing it as a favor to the person. It's like, I love this, you can love it too. Like, look how good it is.
100%. I think that's interesting. You're doing it as a favor, like, because the stereotypical kind of idea of sales, you know, snake oil salesman, like, you know, bending the truth, pressure selling, like, those days are gone in my opinion. The only way that I have found selling and how I've been able to do well at it is by selling with conviction, but being the other person's best friend, being truthful, being honest, being, you know, weighing up that I'm on their side on this, we're going to get to ultimately the best decision for you. And the reason that I think this product is the best for you is because of all these things that you told me, because this makes absolute perfect sense, because this is the logical choice. There's no kind of facade being put up there. And that's what's really important in this industry. It's walking them through the sale as if they're your best friend, and ultimately you're closing them on a sale. But like, there's benefits to that. Like, you've got a long-term relationship there, and it's the massive difference that people don't take into account. People are just trying to ram products down people's throats. Like, even when I was selling broadband, I knew that the broadband that I was selling was better than the one that they had. It was cheaper than the one that they had. So it's just like, buy the fucking thing, because I know it's going to benefit your life so much. It
makes sense. You know, it makes sense. Just do it. And then all you have to do is show them why it makes sense. You don't have to make up something that it's better because, just facts and figures. I suppose your honest opinion get you a long way.
Yeah, selling with conviction. If you love the product, then it's absolutely huge. You do have to love your area. I think it's really important to align the kind of person that you are with the person that you're selling in. That those are the kind of clients that you're dealing with, that the area actually suits you, that you could imagine yourself living here, and then the rest will just do the rest of its job. You don't have to, you don't have to learn about all these things. You don't have to learn how to do these special sales techniques, because you love the area, you're finding out about the area, and you would live here yourself. So you're just imagining yourself living here and you're just advising them as if a friend.
But even the fact that you love in the area, obviously if you're studying something you love, like back in school, you're studying something you love, you learn it so much easier. It goes into your head. Like, you'll have no problem rattling off things to do on the Palm, or where the amenities are on the Palm, you know? Those things just stick with you because you want to know for yourself. So being able to say those off your tongue, all the facts and figures, purely because out of your interest, is huge.
Yeah, and it's sticking with that one area.
Yeah.
Like, this can't be understated, like how important it is to stick to one area. Like, you can move quickly out of one area to another if it doesn't work at the early stages, but the amount of time that you can waste focusing on a different community, and then 6 months down the line you go somewhere else. Because the idea of the game, which I've spoke about before, is cementing yourself as somebody in the community. Like, you will be their go-to person, as Dean spoke about. Like, people in the area that he worked in knew him for him. Like, I've had, just yesterday, I had a recommendation in the Pam Jumeirah mums group chat of my name, and the person reached out to me, stop smiling, and the person reached out to me being like, I'm not the kind of person who goes through property finders and tries to get agents, because I don't know what they're like.
Yeah.
I trust my friend's opinion so much more than I could find on Property Finder. Just as people would recommend a good place to eat,
Yeah.
you know, a good movie to watch, a good service provider. It's just like, this is the person who done a great job for me, and I trust recommending them to you. That's why it's really important to focus on that area and deal with the most amount of people. This is what I can't get over. It's not about the commission earned. It's not about the amount of money you can make in one deal. It's about dealing with the most amount of people, because then it's just number. You just got an enormous amount of leverage that I can deal with the most amount of people. Therefore, I'm increases my chances of referrals, future business, people that come back around. And that's the beauty of rentals as well.
And just overall doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, if you're focused on the relationship rather than the commission, you're going to do a better job. You know, if that commission's front and central of your mind, that's all you're thinking about the whole way through. You're not thinking about providing a good service. You're not thinking about how this person's going to see me. Focus is on money. I need that money. I think, as I heard this week, about if you want to get something, you're telling yourself you don't have it. So if you want to get that commission, or you want to get that money, you're telling yourself you don't have it. Whereas if you don't worry about that, tell yourself you already have it, that's in the bank, and you then go and you're working out of the opportunities that can present themselves. You're not going to be trying to sell out of desperation or rent out of desperation, because in your head that money's in the bank. Your complete work ethic is then based off the opportunities, the networking, the commission's already made in your head, you know? So I think people can smell the desperation off you when you're trying to rent them something. And I think that's why also you can get into such a rut. If you're not renting over here, you need the money, then clients can smell it off you that you're desperate, and it's just a vicious circle of chasing that commission that you're not going to get, versus working for the network, working for the opportunity, and just letting things fall into place.
Have you ever had a situation where you think you're selling or renting out of desperation, or leading with money?
100%. I think it's hard not to in your first 4 months over here, 4 or 5 months over here, because you came over with X amount of savings and you need to pay the rent.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard to not focus on the commission at that stage. It's hard to, as you say, focus on the delayed gratification and worry about building network and building morale with people when you don't know if you're going to be able to pay your rent. So I think anyone who says they come over here in the first 4 months, they didn't worry about commission, either they're lying or they had a huge piggy bank coming over. I didn't. So yeah, of course. And I think that's only starting to change with me. That now it's like, okay, I've got this sale that's going to look after rent for the next 4 to 6 months or whatever. So I can sit back whenever the next rental, whenever the next sales comes in, grand, happy days, but just work on that relationship, building the trust because everything's selling something is 100% trust. You're not going to buy something off me if you don't trust me. So just building that trust, building that relationship, and letting the rest follow. Putting in my head that I've already made this commission. It's already made. I just need to find which person now is going to be the one that it has made of me, as in past tense. It's already made. And you will find them. You'll find the one. It's just a case of opening yourself to the opportunity of, okay, which of you is it, rather than who can I get money off.
Yeah.
Have you found leading with commission front and central?
100%. I think it came from my first few months. I was trying to lead as much through relationships. Like, even though unconsciously I might have been operating out of desperation or fear or whatever, front of mind, I was always telling myself and telling other people, it's not about the commission, it's just about people I'm dealing with. And even though I might be feeling internally there somewhere deep unconsciously that I'm still working out of desperation, as long as my mouth was saying something else, then I think I was convincing myself of it. I remember telling a guy that, yeah, look, it's not about the commission. Like, I'm just trying to deal with a lot of people in there. And he was like, oh, that's like, you know, oh, someone's got rich parents, or, you know, that's daddy's money. Nearly lost a head, like, nearly lost a head.
The stress ball in the pocket.
I was like, only if you knew, pal.
Yeah.
Only if you knew. But
look, let them think that way.
Yeah. But it's about separating from that. But I've had periods where I've been desperate. It's funny because it's not desperate for money. Like, I had stupid things that I was desperate about, hitting my target in order to be senior sales or senior leasing agent, hitting my target in order to be the top performing agent of the month. So, like, I was driving it, like I was just squeezing things together.
And hitting your target just to satisfy the ego as well.
Yeah, well, satisfy the ego, but I just wanted to have proof, like just layers and layers of proof,
Absolutely.
layers of paint,
Layers
as
of
we
paint,
spoke about, like, and those months where I was really going after it, I made it way more difficult than it needed to be. It felt like, I was operating out of fear, operating out of anxiety. I was not really, chilled out, and I was just up fucking Schitt's Creek, man.
It is subconsciously though. It is subconsciously. It's like, oh no, as you said, it's grand. I'm not worried about the commission. But no matter how much you tell yourself that, it is in the back of your head that I have to pay rent. And that's just human nature. I have to eat. There's only so many pot noodles I can have. Yeah. Rent has to get paid, and that puts a deadline on it. So obviously you can try not to work out of desperation as much as possible, but putting yourself in a position to not work out of desperation, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah.
Because you can tell yourself all the rest, but if you're working out of desperation, it's because of the position you're in, not because of the mindset.
Yeah. What else? What else do people not speak about, like, in terms of real estate, as a real estate agent?
I think a massive one for me is, if you are not a people person, if you can't read the room, if you can't, I don't want to say change, but if you're not adaptive to how to deal with other people, you're fucked. You need to be able to talk to people, because every client you go and see is a completely different person for a completely different part of the world. They're not the type of person you find in your hometown. So you need to be adaptive. And if you can't get on with those type of people, if you're not a people person and you can't do that, what's going to separate you from the other agents?
And so you're saying you have to be a certain person around these people, and then a certain person around that person?
No, I don't think you don't change as a person. You stick with your morals, obviously, and you stick by your code, but you just need to be able to adapt to, okay, I can have a laugh and have to crack with these people, and I can get away with saying this, and with these people it's strictly down to business, no real small talk. I think a lot of it comes down, well, not a lot of it, but the nationalities of people, I think, varies a lot too, depending on, obviously, if we are dealing with an Irish person, you're going to push the boat out way further than you would if you're dealing with Russian clients.
Yeah.
And I think just knowing that and being able to adapt to the situation, not change who you are as a person to, I can lie to these people, but I have to tell the truth to these.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But how can you determine what kind of a person somebody is and where those boundaries are and how to be around a certain kind of people if it's gonna be a few seconds of a decision. Like how do you adapt around the people that you're dealing with?
I don't know. Surely it's just learned behavior. Do you know, like if you walk into a room, like you can read the room as soon as you walk into it, you're like, oh, okay, not the place to make jokes. Do you know, until okay, you get to know them a bit, and I can do X, Y, or Z. But I think for me, I find working in a pub at home is huge for that. You know, when you're forced to talk to hundreds of different people every night, you've got the alpha sitting up in the corner that are probably ripping the piss out of you, and you have to kind of judge, like, is he joking or is he being smart here? And then you've obviously the Karens down the back where you're not going to be saying the same things to them as you're going to be saying to the alpha sitting up at the bar. I think it's the same thing. It's just trying to read people, trying to know whatever works with him won't work with her.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Can you? I think you can learn that. Some people are, I think, just extremely introverted and can't.
I don't know if it's introversion. I think it's more emotional intelligence. And this is something that Kyle would have alluded to, that you're very fortunate to have those kind of skills, to be able to make those snap calls, to be able to read the room. It's not a pleasure, or it's not a thing that comes so naturally to people. I'm fortunate that I'm the same, and somebody else I was speaking to in the office is doing well. She said it is the number one skill that people don't talk about, that is extremely overlooked, and it has massively benefited her. And it's been adaptable, it's been changeable, it's been malleable to the room, it's been to be able to speak to some clients this way and some clients that way, and they're snap calls. So when I was asking you, I was thinking about it myself, and a lot of those things are unconscious. They're not things you realize you do. You might just kind of snap out of it after a while and be like, I didn't even notice myself changing there. I've had that where I've had back-to-back viewings. You know, one viewing with a family, you're able to, you know, make some jokes about the kids, like very kind of family, warm, open, like gooey, like just very their best kind of friend. I think it's a good way to describe it. Very kind of, you know, relaxed, and we're doing this all together, and the kids are important that they're, you know, okay, and that they're not screaming and shouting and fighting, and it's relaxed. And then another viewing straight after that was with a businessman, and it was just bah. I think we did like 6 viewings one after the other, and it was like this. Tell him only the most important information. He doesn't need to know about this. He doesn't need to know about this. The pace at which I was speaking was speeding up. The pace at which I was walking was speeding up. The pace and how I was standing and my body language and everything was changing. And I didn't realize it until I could look back and be like, oh fuck, I was 2 different people there. Yeah. Imagine if I went into the viewing with the family and was just business, like tack.
Or vice versa, the viewing with him. Like, oh, how are you today?
Exactly. Or with the family, just being very straight up, very like quick spoken, very like, come on, let's move. They just would have thought you're a dickhead, that you weren't, that they weren't important to you. And then with the businessman or whatever, the very kind of straight up guy, if I was very relaxed, he'd be like, oh, this guy is so lazy.
Yeah, you know, he values his time. Stuff has to be snappy. You know, he's obviously busy. Get through these, get it done. It's a process. It's not an emotional, as such, sale or whatever.
Yeah, because you have those emotional and rational buyers, and the only way, as you said, it's learned behavior. The only way that you can do that is by increasing the amount of viewings that you have. Yeah. One way to do that is by doing rentals to begin with. Just work like an absolute dog. Do viewings for experience, not viewings for I'm going to close this deal. I'm going to close this deal. Every viewing is a closed deal. It's not the case. You're learning about them, you're learning about yourself, and you're just repping it out and understanding how different viewings can be changed, how some people are emotional, how some people are rational. There's no amount of me speaking into a microphone and telling you about emotional and rational buyers until you experience it yourself. The only way to do that is by having done so many viewings, so many negotiations, so many rentals, so that when you do transfer into sales, those things can be moved over. Like, I can't tell you how many hours I've done viewings. I've probably done over 400 viewings, like maybe even 500. It's been 52 weeks, 10, 15 viewings some weeks. Some days I've had 7 and 8 viewings. Yeah. I can't tell you how many hours I've put in. And it means that now when people do viewings with me for sales, it's like, oh shit, this guy knows his stuff. Like, and
How could you not?
It would be ridiculous for me not to after having that. Like, it's the same for everybody else. It's just like, and then it just becomes so much more easy.
Yeah.
And you can adapt around certain kind of people.
It's like walking someone around your home house and just telling them where everything is.
Because you know the area, you've done your product knowledge, you're familiar in the community. There's nothing that makes me more anxious than walking into an area or a viewing that I don't know. I hate that feeling.
Yeah. Someone asking the question that you don't have the answer to.
It's the worst. It's the worst. Not even knowing which doors to open or lifts to press or where the reception is. It's those micro decisions that I don't have to want to worry about because I should know about that area.
But that's like when you don't know those things, it's subconsciously showing the client this fella's inexperienced. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's building. I'd definitely be able to find someone that is able to provide more value for me as a client than this guy here.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be experience in terms of years. Like, people are always surprised if I tell them I've only been here for 1 year. But there's agents out there that have been here for 5, 6, 7 years that I guarantee I know more about the area, and I've done more viewings on them, and I've negotiated more deals because, again, looping back to, I was leading for deals closed for people working with rather than commission earned.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that it's about who I build on the way, not the end point. It's not the amount that I will earn from this person. It's the experience and the person that I become as a result of it.
Is it working for the opportunity rather than the commission? Do you know, the commission will come. God only knows where a single one of those clients could take you in the future. You know, what opportunity they will present to you in the future. You've done 400 viewings, say. That could be possibly with 250 different clients. 250 connections made this year of people with good financial backing if they're renting on the Palm. 250 people added to your network. 250 potential opportunities to present themselves to you in the future, rather than I'm only dealing with this guy because he's going to pay a big commission and that's it. Do you know? So I think that's huge, huge, huge when someone's deciding as well, which isn't spoken about. Rental and sales, another massive topic. Or rentals is bottom of the barrel. That's where you go before you get the sales. Absolutely, I think that's where you go before you get the sales. But not for the reasons of you can't do sales, but the reasons for the benefits of rentals.
Yeah.
You know, making those connections, learning the information you need to know, and just pure confidence.
Yeah.
You know, if you can walk into a viewing and do, like, I'm probably only getting to this stage now where at the start you're a bit nervous about viewing. Do I know the square footage? Do I know all the information? Am I going to be on the spot? Rather than walking in here, it's just like, oh, another viewing. Like, no matter what they ask, I can answer. You know, and when you walk in there with that confidence and you're relaxed, shit just happens. Like, shit works out, you know, rather than having to force stuff.
Yeah, and it becomes like, and it's okay not to know, like, sometimes, like, because saying that you don't know is so much better than bullshitting it. Like, I had a viewing last week where a guy was like, oh, do you know what this thing does? And it was something small in the apartment. I had no idea what it done. And I was just like to him, yeah, to be honest, I have absolutely no idea. That's the first time somebody asked me that. He's turned around and he's like, oh, usually people don't say that. Usually agents just give me a bullshit answer.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
and it could have been a bullshit question to gauge that. You know,
well, I don't know. It was about something that it was so small. I actually even forget what it was about. But then he was telling me a story about how an agent had lied to him in the previous week, and it was something unimportant as well. I was like, "Oh, is there a safe in this room?" The agent said no, and he opened a drawer, and it was right there. It's just like that, like, and then that was just like,
just say you don't know.
Just one little knock, just one strike, one strike, one strike, one strike, and you just compound them, and then you just got somebody that you don't trust.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's not like I'm going around trying to be an agent that you can trust, but like he was saying, you're the only person I'm going to deal with because you're the only person that I can trust. And it's not like I was going out of my way to be the kind of person that you can trust. I was just being myself.
Yeah.
And I was just telling them the truth, and I was just speaking to them like a normal person. Like, and so much of the stuff that I've learned has definitely become unconscious. Like, who I am now compared to who I was a year ago is fucking night and day. So a lot of those things I can't really pick up on. But yeah, it's about not knowing as well.
I think that whole just saying you don't know is huge as well. Like, cause sometimes it can be an outlier question that you'd never be expected to know the answer of. So what's the problem saying you don't know? Like, someone asked me the other day, what time does construction of Como start and finish? And like, do you know what I mean? You could want to have the right answer all you want, but you don't know. Like, yeah. I don't know. How am I going to find out? If I ring the keel, I'm sure they're not going to tell me. I just I come in at this time in the morning, they haven't started yet. I go home at this time in the evening and they're finished. But to be honest, I don't have a clue. Like, I can try and find out for you, if possible, but as it stands at the moment, not a notion. Like, and he's just like, oh, okay, fair enough. Like, if you could find out, that'd be great. It's better than me telling him, oh, they finish at 6 and he moves in, and 10 o'clock at night they're still working away drilling. And he's like, oh, well, I'm not fucking dealing with him again. This is a nightmare. Yeah,
that's just kicking that down the road and it'll blow up in your face. I think that's important. And yeah, I think one big thing that people don't really speak about being a real estate agent is that it's very fucking difficult. That is very, very difficult. It's difficult to do well. It's easy to do average, but the average real estate agent makes no money.
Yeah.
The average real estate agent makes no money.
He's kicking the stone down the road. How long can I pay rent for?
And this is something that you only find out when you're here. Real estate agents are, put up on a pedestal if you're abroad and being like, oh, this is, a job to be admired. These are all people who are making a lot of money. You do obviously have your outliers, but 80%, like 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. Like, there's a lot of people who aren't making any money whatsoever. And that's because it's fucking difficult. And what I haven't wrapped my head around is, in life, if it's difficult, not a lot of people are doing it. But in real estate, it's difficult, but a lot of people are doing it.
But it's difficult to be consistently good. It's not as difficult to get lucky. And there is the opportunity here for luck. You meet that one client or that one property that makes you a load of money. And surely that has to be the reason why there's so many people here doing it. And they might stay here 2 years, and if they don't get that luck, they'll fuck off back home. Or as Dean says, the best thing that could happen for the real estate market over here is this bubble bursts and get rid of all these shite agents that are here for an easy ride. And it'll be, if you're a good agent, you'll still make money. Do you know?
But everybody thinks they're a good agent. Everybody thinks they're working hard.
I disagree with that completely. I think, everyone agrees that they're a good agent.
I'm a bad agent.
No, everyone agrees they're a good agent. They cannot think that they're working hard. Impossible. Like, if you come into this office and you're come in at 10 and you're home at 2, how can you possibly look at yourself and say, oh, you know what, I'm working hard? Like, do you know what I mean? When there's people in the office from 7 till 6:30 or 7 till 7 doing that 6 days a week. You know, everyone might think they're a good agent and I don't need to work hard, but they can't all think they're working hard.
Yeah, that's true. I think not only is the most difficult thing putting in the hard work, I feel like if people ask me, what is it that worked for you? Like, it's not just the hard work. It's such an easy answer. You can work hard and just work in the wrong direction. Like, I mean, there's so much more people who are working harder than me. Like, it's not a good determinant of doing well. Like, if you look at, people working in a coffee shop or people making sandwiches or the security guards, like, they work so much harder than me. They literally do 12-hour days every single day and they get 1 day off per month. It's just we're in a highly leveraged job, a job that when you work harder and smarter that you do well. But what I'm getting to is one of the massive hard things in the industry is the things I'm doing today and not getting instantly rewarded for. I spoke about this in the past. It's not getting the instant gratification. It's not getting those hits of dopamine. It's not getting paid for your output of time that you were paid for previously. Because in life, for the last however number of years I've been working, probably 10, I got paid per unit of time. So I knew that once this hour was done, I'm getting paid.
You can do the maths on a month. It's like, okay, this is what I'll make this week.
Yeah.
If I work harder, I'll make more. That delayed gratification, there's no instant, is the biggest kick in the teeth. That's the biggest hurdle to get over, I think.
But it's not even working harder in your old job, it's working longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, I have to stay in this.
Well, it depends what your old job was.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of these jobs, like a lot of those part-time jobs, a lot of jobs that, you know, people would be used to, it's paid per hour. If there's no commission, no incentives, then that is the case. And
but even if it's not, even if it's your own business you set up, you work harder, you get paid more. That's normally how it works, and it normally comes fairly quickly. Like, I work harder this week, I get paid more this week.
I don't know, man. That's why I think that's why we are kind of like entrepreneurs, like, because you're not going to see instant, you know, payments for what you're putting in. If you're a first time, you know, business owner, a first time entrepreneur, like, you mightn't see profits for a full year. Like, you're not going to see a massive return for your investment, which is your time, your motion and your energy. You're not going to see that for a while. You might get lucky, you might not, but it's been able to understand that what I'm doing today is going to pay off tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe not even next year. The reason that I'm building this is for my future, for the most amount of people I can speak to. It's not about the commission that I'm going to earn, it's about the most amount of people. So it doesn't matter if I don't get paid. It doesn't matter if this deal doesn't change my life. It doesn't matter if I have to split this 4 ways. It's, you know, ultimately the network that I'm building to cement myself as a person here, and that will pay me in the future. It could be 5 years. Yeah. It could be 10, but who cares?
I think even on the smaller scale of how, like, to gauge the work you are putting in, like, if I've got a quiet week where I've got sweet fuck all viewings, I'd be like, I obviously did nothing 2 weeks ago. You know, I obviously wasn't working hard enough 2 weeks ago, because if I was, I wouldn't be sitting in the office doing this now. Or if I've got a week with a load of viewings, I was like, this is me reaping the rewards of 2 weeks ago when I was in the office, grinding it out on the phones, messaging people. Like, so I think if there's, that's how I try and cope with the delayed gratification. Just trying to put some kind of gauge on it, some kind of way of measuring. Okay, here's the results of my hard work. It's not money, you're not making money, but you can graph to see, okay, this work, this is where it's going. It's going into these viewings, or it's going into these properties that I've now gotten. But 100% agree with you on that one. That's, I find anyway, definitely the hardest thing about being here. Yeah,
and it's something that, yes, not really spoke about. You think you'll kind of get that instant reward. I find the same, like, but I find that the months that I don't make money, I realize, oh shit, I dropped the ball last month. But I find the months that I make a load of money, the following months I don't. Or sorry, the months that I close a load of deals, the following months I don't, because it becomes impossible for me to keep getting more stock, getting more kind of inventory. Like October, I had a quiet enough September, not really, but I just got a massive amount of stock. October, busiest month I've had so far, 11 deals, like majority of those in like the last 2 weeks. November was dry as fuck as a result.
Steam coming out of your ears that month. If you looked at Brian wrong that month, you got the head eating.
Which, October?
Yeah.
It was quite difficult, to be honest, man. Like,
that's why the shoes are worn down to where they were. In and out, up and down off the chair. I can remember just sitting down and just
contracts. But I felt quite alone that month, because anytime I complained to somebody, I just was like, they're like, oh, cry me a fucking river. Like, as in, you've done 200% of your target this month, cry me a river. But like, it was, man, like, and I wouldn't like to go through one of those months again, because I value.
Cry me a river, will you?
Shut up. I jump across this table. I don't want to sacrifice my well-being for how much money I'm making, like, ever. Like those are my non-negotiables. It got to a stage where I was just operating just out of reaction. Like, I was just completely operating out of instinct at that stage, and just being guided by external environment, just not choosing what to do, just being just pulled and fucking dragged
Pillar
or
to
whatever,
post.
and then just being paid for it, like, and there was nothing rewarding, meaningful, and I had to drop the quality of my work. As in, if I had to do this volume of 11 deals, I had to drop the quality of my work. Like, that was not going to be possible.
You're not getting the service.
Exactly. To juggle all these balls, to fucking remember half of it, to deal with 22 people in, like, it was probably the last 3 weeks. Like, in order for me to do that, I have to take a hit on my quality of work. Like, all these people won't get the top service that I'm happy to give.
It's just getting shit across the line.
Get across the line. Like, there was people making offers at the end of the month, and I was just like, give me a fucking break. Like,
I don't want your money.
Don't take it, because like, one of them was just like a split deal for like 100k rental, or 15, or like, two of them was split deals for 100k rentals, and I was just like, oh, fuck this deal, man. Like, just fuck this deal. Like, it's just not even worth it. Like, I don't like the client. I don't like him. Like, he wasn't. I didn't like him. He was kind of treating me pretty badly, but I was just like, just don't sign the contract. Just please don't, because I don't want to deal with you.
This is not worth the stress.
And then, like, sure enough, like, he made an offer and signed the contract, and I was like, all right, whatever. But,
commission.
Yeah.
No,
but you have that as well, and like, it's not all kind of sunshine and rainbows, and it is a highly stressful job. It's important to understand that if you're coming into the industry, that it is really, highly stressful. People don't tell you that you're going to be questioning yourself, question your abilities,
and other people will be questioning you. That's the annoying thing. Like, I think you can do a good job, but because you're all painted with the one brush out here, other people questioning, like, your morals, or like what you're doing. Oh, you're just an agent, you'll do this. I won't. But how are they supposed to know?
Yeah,
I think
only
that's
by providing that proof.
And that's one thing that definitely, like, rubs me up the wrong way. But the clients they've no other way of dealing. Do you know what I mean? They have to be cautious with everyone they deal with because of the type of people that are out there too.
Yeah, it's just learned experiences.
Exactly, and it is frustrating. It's a very frustrating job, for so many reasons. But yeah, I definitely think as well, you need an escape from it, because there is no 9 to 5, because on a Friday evening you can't finish early and go home and switch the phone off for the weekend. I think if you're working at that level and of your peak performance, you need to have the structure, and you need to have something in place that you can switch off, because you will just burn out.
Yeah.
And that's not doing anyone any favors. As you said last week, slowing down the speed up, I think that's huge as well. Like, this, it's not spoken about how this is a performance-based role. You are a business athlete, and how you take care of yourself and handle yourself outside of work is in direct impact to how your day or week or month is going to go. So I think if you have a serious work ethic, you work hard and all the rest, but you don't check yourself, like, and monitor how you're doing, and try and take that downtime, and you're not keeping yourself fit and healthy, it's going to end badly. Because at the end of the day, as I said, you're an athlete. If you're playing football and you're not checking yourself, and you're not going to the gym, and you're not monitoring how you're feeling or how you're doing, that's unsustainable. So there's no difference with that in this. So yeah, I think that's another huge thing. Like, it's a high pressure job. It's a fast paced environment. You're an athlete. You need to be prepared to work like one and take care of yourself like one.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, man. And that's something that I've lived by for the last few months. Like, every word that you said there, I completely agree with. Like, it's such a performance-based role. You need to examine yourself as an athlete. You need to understand the small things. Like, if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm on the back foot tomorrow. If I'm stressed now, how's that going to affect me? I love that. I love that, because then you can have control of your outputs. You can have control of your performance, and you don't have to have it or not. You don't have to be lucky or unlucky. You don't have to, have good genetics like you would as an athlete or not. Like, as in, you just train yourself. Like, and you just examine your life intentionally. you live with intention. You examine your life through a microscope and be like, does this serve me? Does this not? Does this benefit me? Does this not? And we're in such a fortunate position where in this period of our life, we can just be completely laser focused on this role and see how we can just pull the most out of it and find those little 1%ers and those things that move the needle. And that's what I enjoy so much more, because you can just operate like a fucking machine. Because at the end of the day, humans are just a combination of those factors.
And I think if you find yourself, you know, being like, I can't do those hours, or I can't operate at that level, then there is something that you need to change.
Some out of balance.
Do you know what I mean? Because you and I are no superheroes, you know, but and you can operate at a higher level than me. I'm still catching up to that level. Like, I'll hit a wall at the end of the day a lot sooner than you will. So like, I obviously still have a bit of fine tuning to do on some things that are maybe going to prolong my energy throughout the day or whatever. But if you're saying to yourself, oh, I could never do that, like, well, why the fuck not? Like, do you know?
Yeah.
Get your sleep, monitor your food, monitor your emotional and mental energy. And there's no reason, like, if you can work like a machine, why can't I and why can't everyone else?
Exactly. Like, nail on the head there. Like, as in, it's so empowering for that. Like, as in, I can control that, and the things that I do affects my outcome, and I can determine my future, where it becomes so deterministic that luck is just not a factor anymore, that I can just perform like an athlete and think like one and just operate on a wavelength that is just vibrating higher than anybody else, that I can just perform to a really high level and get paid for it.
Like as David Goggins said, like, he tells himself every morning, like, he's a lazy piece of shit, like, you know, and he just makes himself get up and do it, and he identifies himself as that lazy person. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm sure you'd happily sit down on the couch and put the feet up as well. But yeah, just make it like, if Dave Goggins used to be an obese, lazy mess on the couch, and he's able to do what he did purely because of mindset, like, everyone's mind is the same at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you push yourself.
Yeah, we can achieve anything that we put our minds to. And I've something that I've started learning recently about that whole David Goggins thing, and how I actually do the same in my own life. There's a point in which it becomes negative, as in, like, we are the stories that we tell ourselves. If I identify, like, I've said on this podcast that, you know, I think I'm a lazy person deep down, or, you know, intrinsically, like, I'm a certain kind of person. If left to my own devices, I'm this. Like, that's absolute bullshit. Like, that is just bullshit. That does not serve me, that frame, that, like, that mode of thinking. Like, I am the kind of person, only based off the proof that I have to present to the rest of the world. I am the stories that I tell myself. I am the evidence that I show to the world and myself. Like, I'm not a lazy person.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who would sit on the couch and play PS4, or I'm not a kind of person that would do whatever. Like, I'm the kind of person who does those things, and I've got the proof to show the rest of the world that. And it's only the stories that you tell yourself, and it's only, like, through the proof that you can show the rest of the world and yourself, like, why are you that kind of person. And yeah, it makes you to be able to not have any imposter syndrome. It makes you to be able to feel kind of comfortable in your environment, that you can operate and that you belong here. And it gives you a serious amount of confidence, because if you're always feeling that you're not actually this kind of person, that you are an imposter, that, you know, this isn't intrinsically what you're like, you'll always feel like an outsider, and you actually won't enjoy the fucking process.
Yeah, as you said, you're not a type of person. You're whatever type of person you tell yourself you are. Like, if you're not the person that gets up at 5 a.m. or you're not the person that goes to the gym in the morning, why? Because you tell yourself you're not, or because you haven't done it in the past. Yeah. You tell yourself, oh, I'm the person that does this. I'm the person that does these hours of work a day. And you tell other people that that's the type of person you are. Well, then you have to back it up and go and do it, like,
yeah.
Do you know? So I think the whole thing, of oh, I'm not a morning person, or no one's a fucking morning person. I hate getting out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that one. Like my alarm will go off, and it's Brian that wakes me in the morning. He's like, Liam, come on, like. So like, no one's. But if you tell yourself you are the person that does this, or you are the person that does this, who's to say otherwise?
Yeah.
Do you know? Because you only see what I put out there. Do you know? You only see the things that I do, and I'll then do the things I tell myself. It's just, yeah, it's an interesting one.
100% it is, and I used to be like that as well. Like I would, I'm not a morning person.
Not a what?
I'm not a morning person. So then I used to say I'm not a morning person. So then when I would think about snoozing the alarm, I'd be like, oh, I'm not a morning person, I'll take the lie in.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be getting up early because I'm not a morning person. And then only when I changed my frame of thinking of, no, I'm getting up, I have to, like, and I have to.
Then you feel bad about snoozing.
Yeah, then it's just this, I'm the kind of person who gets up at this time. And it's the same for me identifying as an introvert. It's just like, no, like you're just like, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you identify as an introvert, you're going to display behaviors that align with that. You're going to confirm things that happen in your life as, oh, the reason that I'm not doing that is because I'm an introvert.
And then other people will see you as an introvert, and then that is who you become.
Exactly, because they use the proof.
And exactly, and then they see you as an introvert, and then you say, well, I can't do anything else because I'm an introvert, and that's not something I would do, and they'll see me doing that and say that's not like me.
Yeah.
You know, it's all mind games.
It's all through the lens that you look at your life.
Yeah.
And this is what we mean, like, and that can be, that's not us stand up on some sort of pedestal. It's trying to give some power back into your hands, empower like people further, because it has been so empowering for me. I thought I was the kind of person that, that this is the box that I'm squared in, like this is the frame. I have to do the things that, that I am. Like, it's not like, fuck that. Like, I can do whatever I want. I just need the proof. I just need to consistently do something and point to that for the rest of the world. And
the layers of paint.
Exactly. And that means that you can do any industry, you can do any job, you can put anything that you put your mind to. If you give yourself a good enough goal and a good enough plan to get there, it's illogical for you not to get there if you follow the right tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why a lot of people move or emigrate, is because they feel maybe that in their hometown, this is the type of person I'm known as. And I have to move and put myself into a different environment to be able to recreate the person I am, because these people, they haven't made up their mind on me yet. They haven't placed me as an introvert. Do you know, and fair enough, if it takes you moving away to do that, well done and fair play to you, but I don't think we should feel that we have to put ourselves outside our environment to be who you want to be. But completely off topic.
Completely off topic.
Tangent.
A massive tangent.
Yeah.
A massive tangent. But I think that kind of is the essence of some of the things that aren't spoke about in real estate. And if somebody just joining real estate, just new to it or considering it or has been here, I hope that provided some sort of value.
And please ping us all the stupid questions that you cannot find answers for. Anything, absolutely anything. Because I said, like, these are just the things that we've kind of been thinking of yesterday and today, like what hasn't been spoken about. So if like there is a case of something that you're unsure of or you don't know the answer to, or Instagram isn't providing you, please do ask us any of the stupid questions that you may have, because it's insightful for us too, because it'll allow us to think about a point of shit, yeah, that's not spoken about. There's no answer for that. So yeah, if there's any questions or anything like that, send them over and I'll get Brian to answer them.
Oh, thanks, Liam. Thanks, Liam. Thanks for assigning that duty to me. Yeah, there's so many of those questions. Like, I have people reaching out the whole time, and initially when I was doing the Dubai Real Estate Playbook, like, there were so many of those answers. And you get to connect with somebody over here, and meet when we're over here. We're always happy to meet new people, and going forward, like, as in we've done a few now every Sunday, doing the Sunday social.
So enjoyable.
So we would love for anybody who's listening to this to be there, even just once. Half an hour max. You can spend the whole day there if you want. Like, we're just going for, as we do, we charge the batteries. just a run, swim, and coffee. And if you don't want to do the run, you don't have to do the run. If you just want to come for the coffee, so be it.
Absolutely.
Just connect with people.
It's so enjoyable. I think that when we did the 5K last week, or the week before, I think it was, and it literally felt like we were after running maybe a couple of 100 meters. Just the conversation, you're speaking to new people, and by the time you get into deep conversation, you've hit your 5K and you're like, shit, now to do another one. Like, conversation was getting good. So as you said, you're meeting new people, you're finding your like-minded people, you're finding people who may be your tribe over here. And what better way to, I don't know what way, if you want to say Sunday's the start of your week or the end of your week, whatever, but what better way to recharge for the upcoming week? Nice slow run, coffee, bit of breakfast, and a swim.
Yeah, and there's no hidden agendas there. Like, I don't like speaking about work. I'm just gonna get to know you as a person, and we'll just shoot the shit. I can speak about whatever, and then if interesting topics come up, so be it. And it sets you up.
It's as much for us as anyone else going, like, because we want to meet like-minded people as well, which we find isn't easy here. So if someone's willing to come down and join us for that, they're obviously of some sort of like-mindedness to us. So it's as much for us to meet people and to be able to have those conversations, and just a break from work more than anything else. Just a recharge, as you said. Have you got a question, Brian?
Oh, here we go.
This is the second episode where a thought-provoking question, and to be fair, I was trying to think of one during that. You're a cheater.
How am I a cheater? Fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
That is not preparing. Looking up a question written by someone else.
It was 90 thought-provoking and deep questions this week, so I had to put a bit.
You couldn't have sent me over one.
Because I want to watch you squirm.
Literally, okay.
Actually, it was one that I actually came up with myself before.
Bollocks.
So I'm just reading them through, so I just reminded myself.
All 90 of them.
So hold on. I'll ask you a question now. What is one thing that people get wrong about you?
What is one thing people get wrong about me? As in what people? As in like meeting someone for the first time, or like something that you may not know about me?
What do people like, as in, what are some people's preconceived ideas of you that you think, in your opinion, are false?
It's like people from home, or people from where I was growing up.
People from anywhere. People from fucking Pluto, like, for all I care. It can be whatever, man.
People's preconceived ideas.
What do people get wrong about you? Like, why do you think you're misunderstood in any ways?
I asked for a question on a fucking therapy session.
They're deep, thought-provoking questions.
Yeah, they are, to be fair. They are. A misconception people get wrong. I think possibly because I'm always messing and taking the piss. I'm sure to some people it comes across very unserious. Is that a word?
Yeah.
That, you know, like, I suppose the clown streak in me comes out. Yeah, clown. But yeah, I would, off the top of my head, possibly people's, not first impressions, but once you get to know someone, I'm like the joker, I suppose. And then they might get the perception that, you know, can't take things seriously, or somewhere along those lines, you know, that this is this is the characteristic, like, he's just, you know, kind of the joker vibe. But me saying that now, you're not funny at all. But yeah, maybe I think that's off the top of my head. Maybe that's the only one I can think of.
No, that's a good one.
That I suppose I can be serious when I want to be serious. And I suppose that's not always one of the first things I show. So
fair enough.
There's more than just a funny guy.
I'm actually deep.
Okay, I actually do have one, which I did think of myself, Mr. My 90
thought-provoking
questions.
The player.
If you could speak to Brian 2 years in the future, what would he tell you has worked so you're not doing now? What would he tell you that you changed up, that you have done, that you're not doing now, that has got him to where he is? 2 years down the line, you're still here, you're still in real estate, you're doing well, you're successful, you've got the nice car, you're wearing your nice suit. What has he done that you're not doing now? Take some time, speak to him.
Speak to him. I don't know, like, because you were briefly speaking about this, and I was trying, and I'm still trying to think of some of the things that he could be doing, but like,
I think you really have to visualize it to get it, because I did this exercise, and you really do have to visualize going and speaking to that person and seeing what they're wearing, seeing what they're doing, and then just pick up on what you see. What is he doing? What would he tell you he's doing?
Yeah. I feel like in my life there's not a lot of things that I could be doing better. Like, I think if I keep my current alignments the way they are, my current values, my current morals, how I structure my day, my week, my month, if I do those things, it's unlikely for me not to do well, that in 2 years' time I won't have those things. Now, there is some things that need fine-tuning. Probably my future self would something that I'm not doing, or something, maybe even something that I am doing. I think it is kind of going back to leaning into some things that I'm uncomfortable with doing, having some sort of imposter syndrome and not feeling like that I'm good enough or worth it, or that I'm able to do these things, or that I'm able to be a kind of way. I think my future self would say, why are you thinking these thoughts? Why do you have these feelings? They do not serve you. They don't help you to become me, and they inevitably will not, because you know they don't serve you now.
So what has he done that he has that proof?
I think he's doing what I'm doing consistently on a day-to-day basis. I think in 2 years' time I will have the proof.
Okay, and those misconceptions will just, as from proof of layer of paint on layer of paint, those misconceptions will be gone.
Yeah, and one probably could be leaning into speaking to new people, leaning into getting myself out there a bit more,
sticking your neck out, like
sticking my neck out and speaking to strangers and potentially something like that. I'm in this constant thing of should I be speaking to strangers? I am dealing with a lot of people that I don't know on a daily basis, and this whole networking thing is really something that I need to put more thought into. But yeah, leaning into the things that I'm uncomfortable doing, like wherever they crop up. It could be speaking to new people. It could be working less. It could be whatever. Those those whatever things that I find uncomfortable that I don't like doing. Then
I'm gonna get you to sit down and do the full process.
Thanks, Liam.
And we'll have an answer for the next episode.
Thanks. I'll get my crayons and my workbook out, and you can walk me through
You're
it.
thinking your tinfoil hat on.
Oh, my tinfoil hat, my little thinking cap. But yeah, that was a bit of good question though. To be fair, there's something that I will think about and mull over a bit more.
It is good, and I thought it was a bit airy fairy until I actually did it. Do you know? But yeah, being able to try and speak to, because obviously it's all in your head, like.
Yeah,
but being able to
leaned into that, like you leaned into that being uncomfortable and strange and new to you, like, and that's only where the new growth is, and you shattered your preconceptions, and I think that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
So that brings a close to this episode, the number we do not know.
Unknown number episode number X.
Episode number X, infinity. If you have listened this far, make sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to it on, and follow us over on our Instagram page. All try that one again. All support is appreciated, and drop us a message if you would like certain things to be spoke about, if you have questions, or you want to go on Sunday, because we would love to see you there.
Absolutely. The more the merrier.
Exactly. I think that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for tuning in once again, for all 3 or 4 of our listeners.
Yeah, and thank you, Liam, for being here.
Thank you, Brian, for having me.
Thanks. Let's get to work now for the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Right, we'll see you later.
Good luck.
Good luck.